guys, my name is Juniper Bloom Mystique. I am an Ascension Master, Master Healer, and Divine Guide. I recommend you check out my channel to kind of see what that means for all of you and get an insight into all of that. And I've done many videos like this and I will do more too. But this video, boom, I hope you do watch and enjoy. I'm excited to give because the energy is like, oh, and I could have kept writing. So I was actually channeling it. I've channeled some of it before. And she is bringing me information like so crazy, like it's exciting. So I stopped writing and I'm just going to bring the rest to you guys live. Okay. But I am channeling Marilyn Monroe. All right. I wanted to know what happened to Marilyn Monroe. I had recently seen a documentary where they talked about, they know that she didn't accidentally overdose. Okay. So that's already widely known. However, they were pointing towards the Kennedys. They were saying, that's what the thing was telling me. I think it was one of the history shows or something that I was watching. And they were pointing towards the Kennedys having something to do with it. They know that she wasn't accidentally overdosing. Okay. And so I was curious. I'm like, who is really Marilyn Monroe? She's saying she was spunky. I didn't write any of this down. Like, who is Marilyn Monroe? Can we tell them who you are? She says, I'm spunky. She likes that word. She was spunky. She was spunky when she was younger, but 12 years old was significant, and I will tell you why. But she was very spunky. She was go-getter. She wanted to perform. She was born for the stage. She really, really, really was. But to make people smile and laugh, and she wanted a different path than what she actually ended up on. She was surprised that was the way that it all went. But she really did want to be somebody. She knew that from the time she was born. I think, and I'm getting chills, it might even be mapped out in her chart, but I don't know because I'm not an astrologer. But it might be mapped out in her chart. Like, there's something there. She's supposed to be known. Okay? She was absolutely supposed to be known. She's iconic. I got chills when I said, she's like, thank you. But she is, and I feel like she knew from the time she was born that she had a purpose. Okay? I don't think she knew that she was going to get involved with, like, presidents. That's what she's, like, telling me. I didn't know it was going to go that far. Like, I didn't know I was going to go that place. But when she was 12, something happened, okay? So when I channel, I'll write things down very quickly, right? So the way I used to do these, and I'm going to try to up my game on these. I want to get more into these big time, so you guys can see that, see? So I channel. I'm a channel writer. I'm a pure channel, all right? I'm a master healer. I receive things in different ways, and I start to take on their energy, and I can feel how they died. I feel like she actually choked on her own vomit, and there was blood, and that's what she's telling me. It's like she did overdose, but she choked on her own vomit, and there was blood, and somebody actually, like, gave it to her. She's showing me, like, a strap with a needle in the arm. I don't know for sure needles were used or not. That's just drug overdose, okay? But it wasn't her. So what she's actually showing me is she was tired of being drugged. She was drugged a lot, okay? Because when she was 12, I'm like, where do I begin? It's really hard with these things. Because she's excited. She's, like, really excited to get these out. But I have slave. That is the first thing I have written down here is slave. And I'm like, slave? You were a slave? You seemed so happy. She wasn't happy. She was a sex slave, beginning at the age of 12. 12 years old is when she was brought into it for the purpose of fame. Okay? And that's where I stopped writing because she started going like crazy about this. She wanted to protect other girls. She was going to start telling people what was happening to her. I feel like she had actually spoken out a little bit. Okay? And you won't believe who actually she's pointing to that killed her. I will mention the name here in a bit. All right? But she was 12 years old. Marilyn Monroe was 12 years old when it's like her mother, sold her as a sex slave. Okay, but she did it for fame. My daughter wants to be fame, and this is where we're going to go, right? My child wants to be fame, and here's our in. Right? And back then, it was hush-hush. You were very proper. It was like, it reminds me of like the 50s handbook for housewives. Like, you did certain things, and you were supposed to keep your mouth shut, and you were supposed to look your best at all times. And this was the energy. This was the energy that was surrounding her at that time. And she's like, oh, girl, you don't even know, okay? She's very well educated, which she didn't always come off like, oh, Mr. President. Like the way they depicted her was just very, everybody loved her, really. Like, everybody really loved her, and she was used as a sex slave. You're talking actors, some actresses, and into the presidents. Now, again, that thing I was watching pointed to the Kennedys. And in here, that is part of a setup. Okay? So if you look back, the Kennedys like went through hell, right? They were set up a lot, and I think it's because they were not for all the crap that wasn't good. They weren't for being corrupted, right? And so they ended up suffering, and a lot of them ended up dying. Which, I don't need to go, this isn't about the Kennedys, right? But that's just kind of what I'm telling you. All right? And so what this actually says is she became a sex slave at 12 years old. And she started going into this when I stopped writing, because I was like, I don't want to keep writing. Why do that? I'm just going to do this on video for you all to see. And it's exciting. Like, this is what she was going for. And that's why she's like I get to say what I wanted to say then. I get to finally say what I wanted to say then. Because nobody's ever asked before. Or at least they weren't able to receive the information correctly or something. It's not coming out before. So what I see is she was drugged often and then used as that sex slave. Like, this is Marilyn. They made her famous because of what she was doing for them. And it was like a catch-22. You will do this and we make you famous. If you don't do this, you're done. She knew that was always the case. She knew. So she's telling me, I knew. I knew they were going to get me. I just didn't know it was that day. She thought she was going to be safer. But at least it was going to be some time. Like, she hadn't quite fully opened up, but she knew that that was her choices. It's either you do what we want you to do and we will make you famous, or you don't and you're not. You're done. And how do you cut somebody like Marilyn Monroe off? You kill them off and you give some story about it. That's actually in a new show they have on Netflix too, where they talk about that kind of stuff. I can't remember what it's called. It's Mike Myers' show, and he talks about the reality of this stuff, okay? And it's actually in there. There's something like that in there. I haven't watched the whole thing, but it's like that. You can check out that show. It kind of depicts what's going on with these people, all right? River Phoenix was another one who was like, you do this or else. Like, he was getting too big for his own britches. And certain people don't like to be pushed into that, right? You can only push people so far. And if what's important to them is love, you can't completely manipulate that soul, okay? And she had love for other girls like her. That's where she started going. So she was going to start speaking her truth. She was going to start speaking her truth because she saw other little girls being the same things happening, and it was bothering her. And she would even try to tell little girls, like, follow your heart, but fame is not all it's cracked up to be. Like, she would say things like that. Like, you can be beautiful and famous in other ways. And she would try to direct them in another way. Okay? And so because she started doing that, she says, okay, this came through more than once, all right? Ronald Reagan had her killed. Now, he was not president at that time. The Kennedys were. I looked it up because I wasn't alive then. And so, again, if you look up the little thing that I saw too recently, I don't remember what it was, but they said Marilyn Monroe wasn't drugged. She was basically snuffed out, and they pointed towards the Kennedys. And I'm like, something's wrong. It just didn't feel right. And so I wanted to look into it. She was drugged often. That way, she was just constantly sleeping with the next one, but it was like high up people. She had a group that she would be passed around. This is what she's showing me, and I feel like Ronald Reagan was one of them. And I didn't know this. I think Ronald Reagan was president before I was born, or right as I was being born. Then he was out of the office. I don't know, but he was not president when she was killed. It was the Kennedys, and so I feel like they set that up on some level as part of all of the going against the Kennedys, because they were also speaking their truth and didn't like what they were seeing happening within the presidency and other things. Now, I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that the presidency in Hollywood were like 2 and 2. They were the same kind of energies running them through, okay? Now, she also said about the recent mishap about her dress, it didn't make her feel very good. She didn't like that. But it doesn't matter at the same time because it's not worth her energy. It's a dress. It's not with her on the other side. So it's not like when we go on the other side, it's like, oh, how dare you touch my belongings. But it actually was not a good thing who was wearing her dress. And that's what she is saying. Wasn't it Kim K? She didn't like that. That's like a lot of dark energy going into something that was gold. And that's what she's saying. Okay? So what was happening and the reason why she got killed is because there were lies to cover up everything, right? These were all lies to cover up everything, but she was going to start trying to protect little girls. She was going to expose what was happening. She was going to expose what was happening, and she knew it was going to put her in danger. And so she was trying to figure out how to at least get out of what she was doing. I feel like she was done with it. I feel like on some large scale, she was really done with what she was doing and what was happening to her, because it was like, you do this or else. You do this or else. They were like her trophy wife. And that's like, look, we all have Marilyn Monroe, right? Like, she is ours. And I really do feel like that's what was happening here. But her goal was she wanted to stop them doing it to other little girls. Or little boys. It doesn't matter your gender, by the way, for some of those. That's why you hear a lot of little males having the same experiences. But it's just like, we looked at her as a sex symbol, but that was purposeful. I feel like that was the way they were treating her as well. And this was the fame they gave to her because they did whatever she wanted them to do. Except for she didn't like it anymore. Okay? And they did set up the Kennedys on some level. Ronald Reagan had her killed. Did he do it himself? I don't think so. I think he had somebody else do it. But she was a sex slave. She was brought into it at 12 years old, which was very significant. She said 12 years was significant. And that's when she was brought into it. Nice. Let me see. I don't usually do this, but I want to get a little bit more into it. So, Marilyn Monroe. So what happened was she was like completely numb, so she couldn't feel pain when she's showing me her death. Okay, I do feel like she was laying on a bed, like a hotel bed. I don't know that she was at home. I feel like she was laying on a bed. It was a very beautiful, very large bed. That's what she's showing me, and I see her like that. And I do feel like she was asleep. So she's showing me she was sleeping. She was sleeping. I see her sleeping, and I see she was like wearing a nightgown. And the next thing she knew, somebody was on top of her. And they put something over her mouth. Like I can't, like I can't, like that's, I just, I gotta do it. She was trying to fight him off. She knew who it was. Because I see her looking up and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe you're doing this to me. Like, she didn't expect this from this person or anything. She did know who it was. Because I see her looking up going, not like complete shock, like I don't know who this person is. It's like recognizing this person, and I can't believe this is happening to me at this time. I did not know this was going to happen to me. And at first she thought he was going to rape her. And so she tried to surrender a little to that, is what she said. But he didn't rape her. I see. She's already having a hard time breathing. I can't get him off of me. She's saying, I can't get him off of me. I'm having a really hard time breathing. Please help me. And she couldn't scream. There was nobody there. Like, she usually has like somebody around her, but she couldn't see anybody at all, and she couldn't get this guy off of her. And she just almost wanted to surrender so that he can be done with this. She didn't realize he was going to kill her. She just thought she was going to be raped, because that's happened many times before. And again, you keep your mouth shut and do what we tell you to do, or else. I do see a couple actors coming into play too. The Farrah Fawcett's husband, that's who I'm seeing is like the face, but I can't remember his name. She's like, it doesn't matter. I'm just seeing all these different people's energies in hers as she's passing. Almost like maybe she's like going through all these things. I don't know, but she couldn't breathe, and there was a bit of a struggle, but it wasn't huge because this guy was on top of her. And she was like trying to get out of it. I could feel it. I could feel the anxiety. I could feel the fear. I could feel the anxiety. And I just want out of this. Please, what do I do? Okay, let me just give my body to him. This didn't feel normal though. It almost felt like she knew there was no giving that. And then the next thing was her arm was like this, and then they waited as she like started crying. Well, she always cried. Like, so what I see is like tears going down at that point. She stopped struggling so much, and then it just quickly like that was her passing. And then I do believe there was choking on vomit as she was going out, because I do see some vomit with some blood. And so I don't know if necessarily it choked on it, but I mean, it's like in her throat, right? It's like in her, sorry, that is gross, but I'm giving you what she's given me. Okay, and then there was really like no evidence, because that's how the whole thing went down. And then they just took their little tools and left. And that's why they said it was a drug overdose. Because that's what it looked like, is an accidental drug overdose. And I don't know, but I keep seeing like the silky nightgown. I don't know what she was in. I wasn't alive when she died. It's not something I've really thought about before. This is definitely one I wanted to bring to you guys for some time now, okay? She just kissed me on my forehead. I got to free her soul. So a lot of times when trauma happens, we leave soul fragments behind. And that was just given back to her. She's just ready to now let it go. And this won't happen in the future anymore. And Ronald Reagan can't have the karma come back to him now. Because he's not here anymore. But just having all of that rise as truth is all that's needed. And to free the Kennedy's name. That's what she says. And please, like, don't... My personal opinion is, like, I don't want to look at that dress on somebody else. Now I'm, like, upset because I feel very connected to her all of a sudden. Like, please don't wear your dress. She's like, it's no big deal. It's just a dress. But yeah, it's like darkness going into gold. So, for whatever that is, all right? And so, you know, she's just happy that these little kids aren't going to suffer anymore, and that Hollywood isn't something looked at like that anymore. She's very happy about that. And she said it's a long time coming, and it's going to get better and better and better. And she also says that we are going to see completely the truth of Hollywood. There's no way it won't come out. Okay, so that's going to keep coming out. But for whatever reason, you guys, she said Ronald Reagan had her killed, not the Kennedys. She actually really respected the Kennedys. I don't think they were a part of her torture. She says they were not. The Kennedys were not a part of her torture, and I get a lot of chills when I said that. And why they would put that on the Kennedys is because the Kennedys did not comply. They did not comply. That's why he was murdered. And it was set up by somebody that they got to do it. So that was all planned. Okay, the Kennedys. And that's partly why, because they were not complying. Okay. So Ronald Reagan killed our beautiful Marilyn Monroe. Of course, again, it's one of those things where they have other people do the dirty work for them. But even that is recorded, right? Like, I can't deny that fact that she's saying Ronald Reagan had her killed. So it wasn't his hands that did it. It was one of his henchmen, right? And she thought she was going to be raped. And so she just wanted to go ahead and stop fighting and give in to that. And then she realized that's not the purpose. And it just happened within minutes. It was a lot of fear. And I can feel it. I can feel her last breath. And she did throw up. But I don't think it was the choking on the throat that killed her. She was going out anyways. Whatever they gave her was a lot. She all of a sudden just stopped feeling any fear. She just closed her eyes and let go. She knew there was no way out. She knew. And then she said Anna Nicole Smith. something similar to Anna Nicole Smith. I don't think their deaths were exactly similar, but I think Anna Nicole Smith had a similar experience along the way that she did. Okay? And so this is like common occurrence, right? In all these Hollywood stories. Hollywood and presidency. Oh, the web we weep. Don't you know? Thank you to Marilyn for coming in with me and delivering this information that she wanted you guys to hear. She says when she was a little girl, her favorite colors were blue and green, and she loved having tea parties. She loved having tea parties. Like, she knew she was very beautiful and very feminine. That was her. Okay, and that's what she wants me to leave you guys with. That memory of her. She was a beautiful little girl, and she wants to go back to the innocence of that, and I'm getting so many chills. And she loved having tea parties. Blue and green were her favorite colors, and she was one of those that was like a tomboy and a girly girl. Like, I could be tough and I could play like a girl too. Like, I was in a dress, playing anything. Like, she was everything, all wrapped up into one package. She truly was. She was a large heart and a special gift. She truly, truly was. So, that's the mystery on apparently what truly happened to Marilyn Monroe. Now, keep in mind, I trust my guides. I am not your regular psychic. I am a master healer and an ascension master. So I truly believe in what I get. If you want to know more about that, please do your research into who I am before you make comments out of judgment. Because not knowing who I am, I would be very careful to do that. Okay? That's all I ask. I've got everything on my channel for you to know who I am and why I believe in what I do as much as I do. And it will blow your mind. So, my purpose now is to clear these out of the collective whole. Because the more we do, the more we ascend. So much love to all of you. Please like and subscribe and stick around. And I can't wait to see you again next time. Hasta la vista. Bye.